we go. So we've opened it up. I think starting to see a couple of people dropping on. So welcome to those who are jumping in early. This should be the webinar you're expecting from me, from Align the Arrows, to talk about tips for launching your business forward. We're going to make a prompt start at exactly 12:30, just to make sure that anybody who's obviously blocked out the time, we will be finishing at 1 o'clock as well. So I don't want to make sure that we, or do want to make sure that we start bang on time at 12:30, and we'll get straight started then. Again, anybody who's in here now, anybody who's got any questions or anything like that, then please again feel free to drop them into the Q&A section or the chat box, and we'll make sure they get picked up. Just give a check on my time again. This is the strangest part of the webinar because you're talking to nobody. It's an odd one, but it's a necessary evil to make sure that people can get logged on in time rather than going completely cold into it. So about sort of 30 more seconds or so until we get started. Again, for those that have just come on again, thank you, very warm welcome to you. Thank you for coming along. So we're about 20 seconds or so. Again, I hope you're all enjoying the lovely weather we're getting. It's looking like it's going to continue into the weekend, which is great news. And hopefully get out and enjoy some of that sunshine this afternoon. Where are we? 10 seconds to go. There you go. Right, so we'll make a start there at 12:30. So again, thank you everybody for coming along. Thank you for participating or for showing interest in this webinar. And the idea is here that we're going to take 5 tips for, again, businesses of every size. So anybody, if you're a solopreneur, if you've got 10, 15, 20 people, or even more working in your business, then there should be some tips in here that will work for you, whichever size you are. And my role is I'm a business coach. I like to look at the strategic aspects of business. So it doesn't really matter the size of your business. All of these strategic items that will come out of here will be of benefit to you. And again, we're starting to get to that situation where we're starting to see businesses wanting to surge forward. Things are opening up again, but maybe not as open as they want or people would like them to be. So there's that bit of frustration from areas about how can we actually take things forward. And again, for my benefit, for your benefit, my background is that I used to work in London. I was there for 10 years and sort of started my career, then moved to the East Midlands, and all the way through really keen on that strategic part of business, how things fit together, how people really take a part, play a part in making that go forward. So that's a bit of the background really. But any questions that you might have, again, in the Q&A section or the chat box, and we've got Jordan who's here from Creations Marketing that's going to keep an eye on all those things. So anything you want to ask them, please feel free to drop them in, and at the end we'll come back to them. So we'll get straight in then to the 5 tips. And the first one of these is to basically to use a business plan. And apologies for anybody who has been on a few of our webinars before. I do talk about this quite a lot. And obviously business planning is something I'm very, very passionate about. It's not that there's only one type of plan, of course. And again, I give these tools away for free. And the point of this webinar is to give information to people. It's to give you information to help you to drive your business forward. It's not meant to be a sales pitch. And the example there is that there is a plan that you can have. It's free. You can use it. Get a webinar again to find out how to actually complete it. But any business planning tool that you will use is meant to act a bit like your map. And you'll see there's a map there that's like, or not like, it is central London. And the idea is that your business plan should be your map for your business to help you to figure out how you're going to get from place A to place B and what sort of route you might need to take. It should be dynamic. It should move and change as your business moves, as your business changes what it's trying to do, as you bring people in and out of the business, the map can change. But at the same time, that map should be there to help you to set targets or goals or tasks, whichever way you feel comfortable. But it should be you're then able to generate those next level down things of, if this is where we're going, how do we then take the route? What's the option that we've got to get through to the next phase? So any mapping tool or any planning tool that you might use should be helping you to get that. It should be relatively straightforward. It should be quite easy. But then with the mapping tool, you should find, or your business planning tool, you should find that you're then able to also constantly review it and to check in. Something I like to do with what I do is, with the way I coach, I like to try and keep things as simple as possible to make sure that people understand the concepts I'm going with here. So I'm going to try and bring a real world example into this one. And just wonder, I did think about putting a poll in at this point, but then I started to think, really, is it a poll for shopping really necessary? But just take a bit of a thought here. Are you the type of person that when you go to the supermarket, you've already written down your meal plan for the week, you decide what ingredients you might need, and then you go to the supermarket, buy it all, and then come home? Or are you more likely to just go to the shop with a bag and just buy the bits that you need? That's the kind of difference you might have with your business planning. every business is going to carry on going. It's going to keep on moving forward with a plan or without one. It will still be there. But again, the idea is here that what you're trying to create for your business is that very defined shopping list that you can say, I need to go and get all of these things to build this ingredients list, to build these meals for this week. That's the kind of thing your planning tool should be doing. For me, I'm quite good at doing again, meal plans, food shopping list. So long as I stay away from the middle aisles and Aldi, I'm all good. The reason that you might want to put a business plan in place then, so the why for this section is, this helps to start creating that accountability. It starts to bring that into your business, that these are the things you need to do. I'm going to come on to accountability a bit more later on though. So I also like to add on each of these tips, a write down, something that you might be able to write down that might help you to actually do something about this section. And for this one, it's just, when are you going to take the time out to do the planning? It's very common, it's very normal for people to sit and say, oh, I'm really, really busy. How do I plan this for my business? How do I sit down and take the time out? And again, if you're a solopreneur, you've got 24 hours of a day, that's it. You've got to work on absolutely every aspect of your business on your own. But similarly, a business with 20, 30, 40 people in it, there are still going to be people there that need to know what to do. And you've got to take the time out to help create and build that direction and that picture for them as well. So for every business of every size, you've still got to take that time out to do the planning, take time out to work on the business rather than staying in it. So just if you can, write down that time that you're going to take out to do your planning, please. Number 2, innovate. And this is innovation. You can see the diagram here. We don't all need to, or the picture, we don't all need to be able to create these AI robots. However, we should try and allow ourselves to be innovative in our own businesses. And what I'm trying to get to there is that distinction between innovating and imitating. It's very, very easy for you to see what other business owners are doing or what other businesses of your type are doing, and then try and look at what you might do to sort of match what they're doing. If you see someone who looks like they're more successful in their field, or a business that's doing similar to what you're doing, it's quite simple then to look and see, well, actually, they're doing really, really well. I want to imitate some of that stuff because I want to get some of their market share. But the absolute golden thing for you here, the golden rule, is that it's about establishing your own niche. What is it that you are doing that's better than anybody else? Making sure that you've got the way to tap in to what it is that you're doing. When it comes to innovating, it's then about experimentation as well. And what I'm saying here is experiment, tweak things as you go, and then get feedback and check and see. But if I change this over here, what's the outcome of that? How does things work? Similarly, as what you don't want to do, what you don't want to be doing is this. I've created company here, company A, this is what it's doing. I'm not quite sure, I'm going to experiment with something different. And you just scrap that idea and create something different, company B, 2 different websites, that sort of thing. You don't want to be going down that aspect of huge wholesale changes for experimentation. It should be small iterative changes and just testing, learning and finding out what's going on, because you need to find that niche. You need to find the way that you fit into your business area. I mean, from my perspective, I see a lot of people that are out there, similar to Eilidh, there are potentially older people that like to wear suits a lot. And that's the sort of the broad brush that seems to be established in my field. And I don't want to be in that niche. I want to be somewhere slightly different. Similarly, you may all be aware of Cooper Parry. They were a company who they saw that they wanted to be different. They wanted to be not the plain business that you see. From an accountancy perspective, they saw that the majority were whites, blues, greys, quite bland, quite formal as a brand. And they decided, you know, we want to be market leaders. We want to be disruptive in this market. And again, there are loads of different ways to pitch yourself, loads of different ways to build your own brands. They chose to be very, very disruptive. And again, it was a choice they made. It wasn't just a case of it just fell into them. They said, we want to be disruptive, we want to be different. I'm not saying that every business needs to be like that, but it becomes something that you need to create for yourself because you want to have that voice. Also, when it comes to the why might clients want to buy from you? That's why you need to be innovative in this area. Look at why clients want to buy from you specifically. And again, I'll use this example here again of, not example, but explain the small business to the large business and the business to business and the business to consumer. I think it's a bit of a missed opportunity at the moment. There are businesses that act like big businesses and talk to big businesses, but still that personal relationship. If company A has got 50 employees and company B has got 50 employees, yes, you might be doing business to business transactions, but there's still going to be at some point where those two businesses come together and it's a person to person relationship. It's trying to create that identity where you can look at saying, well, why is it that I want to buy from this business? talk to the customer or talk to your potential clients in a language that comes across as a very friendly and open business to buy from. Because once you've created that relationship, that's when people want to start buying from you. It's again about personal relationships, even if your business is at a larger scale. So again, the writing down, what is it that you could write down at this point? And this is here to try and write down what that niche is of yours. What is it that you do that's slightly different, slightly better than some of your rivals? And again, there's a place in the market for everybody. Is making sure that you know where you're best placed rather than looking at what someone else is doing and trying to copy that. So tip number 3, the what can you do? This is really tough to not go into a really big black hole and go right down and down and down, because ultimately this is about having that kind of can-do attitude. And an attitude is something that is very easy to say, but it's then actually delivering on that can-do attitude is very, very different. I've seen companies where they've said that what we want is a can-do attitude, but then there are people that are slightly negative in there. But that's okay to have those kinds of things. In my mind, it is anyway, because you might be sort of slightly negative because you're seeing things aren't quite right. You're seeing that things can be done, but they're not being done. So then you've got this aspect of, well, I've got a slightly negative attitude, but I can do things and get them done. So how do you try and blend the two? The next thing is that when you look at the can-do attitude, it isn't necessarily just the attitude to worry about. It's this almost like I'm not sure how much my hands will show on here, but there is a sliding scale and a spectrum from each part of this, when you've got the can-doing things, which on one side become can-do and then you never stop, you never put things down. And on the other one is the can-do, but you don't do them because you keep on procrastinating. And there's a very fine balance between figuring out how to get the balance right between each individual. When you're looking at every individual in every business, everyone's got that sliding scale, haven't they? It's just exactly how it is. Some people, obviously procrastination is really, really hampering them. It's a thief, as you can see on the screen there. It can really, really stop people from getting things done. But on the other one is you do too much and you end up doing so many hours or doing so many activities, trying to complete so many tasks in a day that you become counterproductive too. So again, it's the hard part here is making sure that you spend the right time on the right things to actually do the activities that need to be done, as well as allowing yourself the time to unwind and relax and recharge and refresh the batteries. I was actually listening to a bit of TalkSport. I'm a big football fan, and I listened to a bit of that just before the webinar started. And it was David James that gave a great example there in terms of what he'd recommend to the team as they go into the European tournament over the weekend. And he said it's the time management is really, really important, which you think from a perspective, obviously, he said a game is 90 minutes, it could be 120 minutes, but time management is everything that they're doing off the field is going to have such a huge influence and impact to their performance on the field. And that's, again, something you need to think about from your own business, if it's you in the business or you've got many staff in your business. What people are doing outside of business or outside of work and what they're doing inside of work, it all fits together. And because we've had, obviously, 12 months or more than 12 months of this constant flux of change, it's now very, very difficult for people to start understanding, well, when do I make myself available? When don't I make myself available? I'm working at home, I'm not working at home. When do I start work? When do I stop work? All of this becomes really, really difficult for people to manage. That's when the procrastination steps in. And again, if you imagine this concept, if you walked into your house one day and you found out that someone had come in and are broken in and stolen things from your house, you see that theft taking place or not taking place. That theft has happened and you feel like you've been violated, someone's taken things from you. And that's what procrastination does to people's minds. The mind is stolen time from them. But at the same time, there is the downtime. So it's all around task management, very, very careful time management to make sure that people have got the ability to do things and to complete things and to constantly deliver things every single day. Again, earlier in the year, I found that a lot of clients were finding it very difficult. Mojo had gone and they weren't too sure what to do. But the recommendation there is just to keep on moving forward, keep on doing little bits, and then all of a sudden, Mojo comes back and everything starts flying again. So the same thing again, I recommend to you, to your clients, or not to your clients, to your team, make sure that you set time to plan tasks. So again, write down, if you could, write down when you're actually going to spend the time to save the time to actually plan your tasks in the first place. Task planning is very, very important and will definitely help you to move forward. Okay, we're going to go on to number 4 now. So again, you may, I said the last time around, I'm a big football fan, not so much a big golf fan. So if my terminology isn't so good here, I apologise. However, I like the concept here. As you can see from the picture, the long game of golf, it's obviously to hit a ball a long way and be accurate with it is very, very difficult to do. But at the same time, putting and that short game is also complicated too. But the reason that I put number 4 as playing the long game is that this is the one that people tend to drop and forget about most of the time. Similarly, last year when the lockdown started and the first pandemic started to hit us really hard, I found that a lot of clients then were just stopping and saying, no, I can't do any more of this business development. It's very, very difficult. The long game stops. Similarly now, as things start to open up and we're getting like clients back into our businesses, or if you've got a venue and you start to see people come back through the door again, that long game is still vitally important to make sure that you still push towards where you want that business to be. Again, from a business plan perspective, this is about creating that vision. But when you've got the longer game in mind, it's making sure that you are taking steps towards it and that you're making sure that you've set it out and that you know what that long game needs to look like. First bullet point though, but don't forget the short game. And that's the aspect here is most businesses are in business because they are doing the short game. They're working every day, they're managing tasks, they're managing clients. There are things that are going on that people are spotting and seeing. So therefore, the short game is probably likely to be okay. I don't see many people where they come to me and say, oh, I'm really good at doing my planning for the longer term vision, but I'm not so good at managing the shorter term stuff. That's not the thing I see. I see people who are constantly doing the short game, but never making steps out there to do the longer stuff. So it's about getting that balance and making sure that both things are taken into account. The next point on there is just that patience and belief. Business growth is not linear. It rarely goes just in a straight line upwards or a straight line across or whatever angle you want to take on it. It's very rarely linear. It moves, it ebbs and flows. You have peaks and you have troughs, and there'll be things that happen. It sort of fluctuates around. But making sure that you've got the patience and belief in what it is that you're doing. If you are measuring it and you're checking and you're getting the right way and you're taking the steps in the right direction, it will come. If you bring all of the things in this webinar together, if you work on all of them, you'll find that it will come together, the patience will pay off, and that belief that you've got and the hunger that you've got to go out there and achieve that longer game will start to take dividends or pay dividends. But then there's that thing about realism too. And for those may have seen on my social media this week, it was the Monday Motivator was along the lines of, if you shoot for the stars, you'll still end up at the moon. And that's the idea here, is that you shoot for the stars, you might end up on the moon, but if you do nothing, you're staying on planet Earth. So there is that, it doesn't necessarily guarantee that if you say, I want to be over there in 10 years time, there's not a guarantee you're going to get there, but you can almost guarantee that if you start to aim towards that longer term goal, then you're going to get somewhere close to it. You might also find, again, as some of the clients I've been working through over the last couple of years, what they wanted to do changes slightly. As you start to develop and grow and the business starts to move in a different direction, you see a different opportunity. You see something else that comes along and you think, actually, you know what? Maybe I'm going to move slightly over this way or slightly over the other way. These things are okay to happen. But again, it's that realistic side of things. If I said to you now, I want to be Prime Minister in 5 months, it's unlikely, very, very unlikely that's going to happen. So that there is that level of realism that you need to bring into this planning piece as well. So why do you do this? As I've said, business growth isn't linear. It is sort of like cycles of growth each time as you go through the little cycle that goes around. But it's now playing that long game and making sure you set out what that vision is and then constantly and consciously working on it. In order to break the cycle, that's the kind of things you need to do. And it is here to try and break that cycle. Now, here's a little challenge for you to do. I've started to use 15 words quite frequently now with my clients. So you can write down 15 words, or just take a note, take a picture of the screen, or whichever it is that's will work for you to do this afterwards. Try now to describe in only 15 words what your long game is. So if you're thinking of, again, the vision, what's your business going to look like in 10 years' time? And you can only use 15 words. That can be a struggle for some people, and I guess 15 words is still, in my eyes, it's still too long. You want to try and bring that back and back and back. But ultimately, have a go, try and describe what it is that your business looks like in just 15 words. So the next one we've got for you here, number 5, is the accountability side. So I touched on accountability very, very briefly with the business planning piece. And again, this one from the business planning is that helps to create that chart to start to create accountability, but the mapping on its own, the planning on its own, it just can't possibly deliver the accountability that you need. What you need is an accountability partner. And again, apologies if it sounds sales pitchy, it absolutely isn't meant to be, because I do fundamentally believe that you can have an accountability partner that isn't me, believe it or not. But you could have anybody. Anybody could be your accountability partner, but you do need to have somebody. When we talk about somebody being there to be your accountability partner, make sure that they're the right kind of fit for you. It's not going to be a yes man. It's not going to be someone that's going to just say yes, that you've done the right things and what a great job you've done. And, oh, don't worry about it. Those things you didn't do, that's not quite right. The idea with the accountability side is to make sure that things get done. That's the idea, is that if you created tasks and goals that you wanted to take your business forward, then you need to make sure that they're going to get done. Ultimately, if things don't get done, that needs to be challenged and questioned, and making sure that the conversation's there. However, when you've got someone set up that you've got a check-in or a regular conversation with every couple of weeks, maybe, that you've said, okay, I'm going to meet you on this date, this time, and we're going to make sure that we're checking in and seeing that we're going to see that these tasks are getting completed. When you know that you've got that check-in coming up, what's the chances are that you're going to actually get them done? And that's the thing, if your business is operating in that way, if everybody that works in your business is working in that same way, where they know there's going to be a check-in at some point to say, well, how did things go? Then people will start to achieve and deliver without needing to be chased on it. So once you've measured that side of things and you've started to get the accountability in place everywhere, you can then make sure that if things don't get done, that they're understood why. And again, I actually lost a potential client last year. We had a conversation, and they were struggling because they were setting themselves a lot of tasks, a lot of activities to do, and they weren't completing them. And when I explained the sort of things that could be happening, the reason that they gave me that they weren't going to proceed at that point is that they felt like they were just going to get told off every time. And I guess that's the kind of thing, isn't it? If you don't achieve things, then it might feel like you're being told off like a naughty child at a school. And that's not the idea. The idea is still to understand, if things didn't get done, why didn't they get done? It's not that everything's expected to be done. And again, all of my clients that I work with, there's not one that achieves every single task every single time. Things always get in the way. Things always stop. The intention would be around 80%, 75, 80% of the activities. If they're done, you're going to get some substantial growth in your business. But the big winner from this one is making sure, if things don't get done, that you understand why they didn't get done. And then what can you do next time round? So if you set this challenge and we set this target, and it wasn't particularly stretching enough, then or not stretching enough means that you would have completed it. But if it's too big a stretch, it's too big an activity, make sure you break it down into a smaller size next time round. Or you might have found that you were trying to do something that just wasn't physically possible because you're reliant on 3 or 4 other people to do that task for you as well. So then you've got a problem there as well, that actually wasn't the right task to set in for you. And a whole load of reasons why, but understanding what's gone wrong is really, really what's important from your accountability partner. And again, partnership. That is the idea, that it should be a two-way conversation. It should be that you're making sure that there's a good relationship between you and somebody else to make sure that it's a good challenge, that you can get the right things done at the right time and the right levels of accountability are put in place to help you to deliver the things in the longer term. So again, they've got the reason why. So again, why do we have this? And it's that sharing is caring. But at the same time, sharing means if it goes out to the world and it goes out to the universe, then ultimately you're going to have people that buy in to what it is that you're doing. So if you're sharing this responsibility with somebody else, then you're going to have much, much higher chance, or a bigger chance, of these things happening as well. And again, it is making sure that you're committing things out to other people that they can then help you to deliver those things. If you share things with people, they're going to want to see you're going to get things done. They're going to want to help with their vested interest to see you develop and achieve more with your business. So the writing down one for this one, again, what can you write down? And it is quite a simple one. Who is it that you can find that can be your accountability partner? Is there someone that's in your business already? Is there somebody that's a family member, somebody like that, who can actually be your accountability partner and help you to achieve all of those activities? So now we're just going to summarize. So we're just over 20 odd minutes. I think we've got the 22 we've got. So I'm going to just wrap this up now, and then we can move on to any questions that we might have too. So the summarization there is that we could use a business plan. Make sure that you do use a business plan. Make sure that it's something that works well for you. Number 2, make sure that you innovate and don't imitate. Make sure that you can do the best things that are best for your business to drive you forward rather than getting distracted by what somebody else is doing. Make sure that you have that can-do side of things to your business. Not necessarily just the attitude, but making sure you've got task management in place, making sure the tasks are being delivered, and every single day you're achieving a bit at a time to make sure that eventually you'll get to that stage where you're just running on autopilot and just constantly delivering every single day. The long game, again, that vision building piece, but then also your short game, making sure you've got the right balance between working on the business longer term, but then bringing it back and working on your day-to-days as well. And that final one, accountability, making sure you've got someone there that can help you to drive your business forward and help you to make sure that if things don't get done, just understanding what it is, what caused that reason, why things didn't get done, so you can then build on it for the next time round. So hopefully that's been important, or not important, hopefully it's been helpful to you all. Again, any questions, again, feel free to drop them into the chat box there or into the Q&A section. If you're not already connected with me, there's my social media things on there. And again, this is this more salesy pitch, if you like. On the right-hand side, these are the ways that people can work with me. As I've said a few times there, I do have free tools, particularly the business planning tool is a really popular one. If you want that, then please email me and I can send you a copy of the tool and a webinar that you can get to go and find out how you can complete that. I also offer the 1 day or 2 days, depending on the size of business, where we just plan together. We work together, take that business plan and we work it up and build it up. So you've then got that map, if you like, built for your business. And the third one is, again, me doing that, building the map and helping them to help you deliver that on the accountability side. But again, all of that can be done by yourselves for free. If you do the tools, then please just drop me a message and I'll send it across to you. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for your time and hopefully you'll enjoy the rest of the afternoon. How are we looking, Jordan?
No questions coming at the moment. I'll give it a second just to see if there is any.
Okey-doke. Yeah, so again, if anybody's there listening, feel free to drop off now if you need to. But any questions, any follow-up afterwards, then please again feel free to drop me a message and get access to any of those tools. No, okay. Should we knock it there then, Jordan?
Yeah, cool.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, and we'll close it there. Thank you.